Hello folks, Crazy Camper here once again to do the weekly review of Season 2, Episode 11 of Alone. I always have to mention, I am by no means a survival expert. I just like the camp. I like the whole premise of the show, and so I like doing these reviews on it and generating discussions, which a lot of you are posting some awesome information, including Nicole. So please subscribe, and my other channel, Ontario Parks, where I document my camping trips. And in May, I went to Algonquin Provincial Park, which is one of the nicest parks in Ontario, especially for canoeing, with a bunch of guys for a bachelor trip. So if you're bored and want to see what Ontario has to offer, yeah, check out that channel. I go all over the place here. But on to the show. 7 days passed on this episode 11 with 2 more episodes left. And I'm pegging that storm at November 16th based on the Weather Underground data, which I'll post a link below if you want to check that out. And November 18th onward to the end of the month, there's no rain. And it looks calm based on, well, the weather data, and 2, we see David on the next time alone under clear skies. So I think those 3 might even stick into December, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Obviously, we lost Nicole this episode. She did a fantastic job, but her, along with other people like John Lord, have been commenting the odd time on the reviews, and she had some information she wanted to share the last review, and she did. So, hello, just what she said. Just a quick note about my shelter. The tarp on top is for water catchment system, and all tarps are on top of 3 feet of debris on all 4 sides, as well as 3 feet on the top of my lean-to with a cabin front and an awning for my front porch. The door I pulled in behind me seals it up so I couldn't see the light of day from the inside. I brought in hot rocks every night, and it was toasty warm in a few minutes. Smart. The third tarp was a partial tarp I found on shore. We each got 2. Don't think I can comment on much more, but the seals were off limits because of the Marine Mammal Act, as were the geese, ducks, and waterfowl, or that's from the Waterfowl Act, unless we had a gun or bow. My mouth was watering watching them. I did have a spear as well, just not shown. All of us had a lot not shown, as they can only show so much. A lot left on the editing room floor, but that's life. Again, they can only show so much. We'll say more post-show, as I'm sure we all will. Excellent. But yeah, so I guess she couldn't catch the seals or try to hunt them. The ducks too were off limits, because there was the one duck earlier in the episode, military guy, I can't remember his name, it just slipped my head right now, but he was talking about killing it at one point. You left it and then it died of something you didn't eat and you threw it away. But I think the producers do an excellent job of keeping us on the edge of our seats, because I wasn't sure who was going to leave this episode. I thought maybe Jose was going to leave at that one part, and then the boat came in and took Nicole out. But onto the rankings. So Nicole finishes day 4, or in number 4, beating Alan's by 1 day, I guess, because 57. And number 3, Jose. Number 2, Larry. And number 1, David, you're moving in there. I know you sometimes watch too. So, Nicole, we see her first on day 52. The cold is really set in because she filmed snow on the peaks behind her. I wonder, is there glaciers on Vancouver Island in the middle, in the mountain range? Maybe someone can tell me that. And we see Nicole working hard for firewood. She's still pretty upbeat, but she talks about that the salmon run is pretty much done and she's hardly getting any fish. So that starts playing a role. And her edibles are freezing over too, and apparently at 50 degrees, the photosynthesis process shuts down, so there's no more chlorophyll and plants just don't grow. Day 54, we see her looking for mushrooms. Now I know you can eat shaggy mane. I've seen Survivor eat shaggy mane, but I don't know my mushrooms, and she probably does. You obviously do, Nicole. But yeah, you probably get real sick if you eat the wrong ones, right? Day 55, eating lipids, conserving calories. She's starting to talk about time like Randy. Is it time to go home? And then day 57, Nicole decides to leave. So, Nicole, I wanted to ask you, now I know you said that your kids, you missed them so much, that was the main reason we're leaving, but now that you've had time to reflect, was it everything? Like, how hungry were you out there? I'm curious to know that. Did the cold get to you? Did the MS, any symptoms reoccur from that? At any rate, you did an awesome job on there. Oh yeah, did you regret tapping when the boat came in? Because you seemed kind of sad to leave at the same time. I guess you were torn, and I can't imagine staying out there alone for 57 days. But when the medical crew comes in once a week with, I guess they take your SD cards and they switch batteries, the film crew too, do you talk to them much? Like, that human connection when they come in, what's that feel like? If you could please comment on that if you're watching, thank you. But yeah, you did a great job, and thanks for bringing a cheerful personality to the show. Without you being on the show, it probably wouldn't be the success it has been so far this season, because I watched the ratings and it's doing just as well or better than last season, so that's great to see. And in number 3, Jose. So his beard's coming in, and he mentions the cold is chilling him out. Looks like he's kind of lost some weight, but he's been going out in that kayak, and I'm pretty impressed by that kayak. It's working pretty good. So day 51 in the evening, he finds the barrel with a net, and he finds mussels. And is he going to be... He ate those mussels, but does he get sick from red tide? I know, we were discussing that earlier in the reviews. Apparently it hits you really quick, and even a small amount can be lethal. So he's playing with fire there. But the red tide comes from algae, and algae is typically in, water and coves, right? Stagnant water, more stagnant water. So if that came in from out there, maybe he's right. It could be more safe. Day 56, he's counting, and he mentions that he surpassed Alan. He's pretty nonchalant, but he misses his wife. And then he talks about going home, and yeah, I thought maybe he was going to be going home there. But the fact he ate those mussels means he might not be catching much fish out in the canoe. If that's the case, and he went through all his food reserves that you brought on, the emergency rations, then I don't know how much longer he's going to be sticking around. He's starting to be less confident, I guess because he's just not catching the fish from the canoe. And then we have Larry in number 2. So we see him in day 51 in the afternoon. He seems pretty upbeat, but he's thinking about suffering. And Larry, I see a big change in his emotions here. He's seeming to respect life and the people in his life a heck of a lot more. Like before, it was angry Larry. Always angry. But then once he moved to that new spot, he seems to be changing a little bit. And he talks about... I remember he was complaining about having to get up and go to work every day. But now he's thinking, hey, that's not so bad. And I think he's kind of just being thankful for who he is now and who's in his life, and that he's had this opportunity to go out there and reflect so much. But yeah, day 53, we hear him talking about the storm. And one of the first times the producers show one of the contestants talking about other contestants. And don't they always wonder how many are left? Who's still out there? That would drive me nuts, thinking how many guys are out there. Some guy could be in like a cabin eating well. You never know what they're doing, right? But yeah, he said if he doesn't want to wish anything bad on anyone, but if someone's shelter collapses in the storms and they have to tap out and they're okay, he's like, that wouldn't be too bad. But heck, I'd be thinking the same thing probably. Day 54, he's sleeping. Well, it's bad weather. Oh, Paiute deadfall. He gets a mouse, but those mouse, they're hardly any calories. Anyways, I respect how tough Larry is and how he's hanging in there. But we'll see what happens. Number 1, David. I know you sometimes watch, but yeah, please comment if you're seeing this. So yeah, I had to move you into number 1. You're catching food out there. I think you're still getting fishy all the time, right? But yeah, the fact that another reason why I put you number 1 is because you're thinking ahead. You're ticked off about the tide, but then you said, I'm looking forward, key words, looking forward to the tides changing, so you don't have to get up so early to go check your net. So that tells me that you're headstrong. You want to stay in there. You don't want to quit. And those minks are running around you. Can you catch them any? Can you set up a deadfall trap for those minks, you think? That'd be pretty neat if you could. Oh yeah, you found a new fishing spot. My question for you is, and Nicole too, how far was the farthest that you would wander from your shelter? I know you're kind of landlocked in there, what David said about the tide in a previous comment. You can only travel when it's down low, and that's the only time when you're filming typically, right? So we don't get to see what it's like when the tide's up. But David, like, were you catching decent amount of food around before? Like, what made you decide to go explore and fish in another area? See that tidal pool, you're in the crabs too. So maybe if you wandered further, you would have got more. I don't know. Maybe you can elaborate on that. Yeah, you see, you know your stuff too, because you're making that pitch glue spruce resin, which is your fire starter, right? Anyways, you're number 1. So next time on Alone, we see Larry with mixed emotions. He yells. He starts yelling again. We didn't see him yell for a while. Getting close to tap day. Getting close. And then you see him crying, so he's having these different waves of emotions. That's why one of the reasons why the stripper want to put him at number one, because I don't think he's eating as well as David either. And we see David, he's falling on a rock yelling dinner. So I know he had a problem with losing fish before to probably a bird, and then he had fish heads on a stringer that he wanted to use as bait, and he lost them too. So who knows how that will get to him. And we'll see. Oh yeah, we haven't seen Jose tip in the canoe yet, have we? Maybe that's a factor in him leaving earlier than some of us might have thought. But yeah, I want to see who sticks around in December and gets some nasty, nasty weather. So 2 more episodes left. We'll see what happens. I'll keep the reviews coming. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.